If you're a social media manager, अच्छा क्या करते हो? Instagram पे पोस्ट डालते हो, LinkedIn पे पोस्ट डालते हो,
क्या करती है तू? सब ब्रोशर लिख रही है, सब मेन्यू कार्ड लिख रही है,
क्या करना है वो नहीं
क्या
पता, बट
करना
क्या
है
नहीं करना है
वो
ये
डेफिनेटली पता था.
करेक्ट.
So
Nobody was talking about writing as a
yeah,
career.
yes, copy
Yeah.
हमारे लिए photocopy होती है.
Right. Thank you so much, Nikita, for joining me today on the Story Bar podcast. So lovely to have you here.
I'm very excited. Thank you so much for having me over, and yeah, excited to chat about everything.
Lovely. See a lot of engineers and a lot of people who are into core tech jobs. They're coming into the space of writing, advertising, marketing, and they're doing really well, right? So what really pushed you to make that transition?
Yeah, I think I was quite miserable in my IT job. I was good at it, but I don't think I liked it. And I realized that within a year of me working there. I've always been a creative person, so to say. Writing and reading has come from a very young age.
Yeah.
Started from reading Ruskin Bond books
Yeah.
to being editorial in editorial teams of my school.
Yeah.
And in college and university. So that creative kira was always there, right? But coming from a small town middle class family, I didn't know the world of advertising existed at all. It was never in my radar.
Did you know what was a copy?
No, I think I got to know what copy meant once I joined advertising. Copy हमारे लिए photocopy होती है.
Right.
Yeah, so I think like all small town kids coming from a very non-advertising background, we didn't know much better. We didn't know the world beyond medical and engineering.
Right.
And I was a sharp kid back in school. I don't consider myself intelligent at all. I think I was just very good at literature. I think that I liked reading and writing. So I ended up, rote learning a lot of the intelligent subjects like physics and chemistry even. So, yeah, so I think that was the cliched route of अब स्कूल के बाद साइंस लिया तो इंजीनियरिंग ही करनी है.
Right. So, writing, I don't think was an option for us at that point of time. When we were young, when we were in school, nobody was talking about writing as a career.
Yes, no one knew about it, right? I don't think the internet was, because also the internet didn't exist the way it does right now. Right? Today's kids know everything from the get-go.
Right. Like, we just loved writing, but didn't understand that, okay, this could evolve into a career option.
Absolutely. I think for me, writing either meant to turn out to be an author, like a published author, or you become a journalist. It was never like a stable career choice. You can't go and tell your parents, "Oh, I want to be a writer." What does that even mean?
Right. Right.
Journalist बनना है, like तुम news reporting करोगे, like तुम ऐसा फील्ड में घूमोगे, और writer बनो. What does becoming an author even mean? Like, what do you do after you finish your book?
How are you going to earn money?
How do you, like, stability was a big thing back in the day, I think. So I ended up into an engineering college. Loved my 4 years of it. Did everything other than studying engineering. So I was a lot into dramatics and Karnataks and all of that.
Wow.
वहाँ पे भी I ended up being part of the editorial board, and that is the first time I met Mr. Ruskin Bond.
Wow. In Missouri?
No, so he used to be. So our college was also a university, had international students.
Okay.
So we had an international school as part of the university only. And he was the ambassador of such for the international school because his granddaughter used to study there.
Oh, wow.
So he used to come every year in any of these events. So the editorial board wanted to meet him, and I think it was a dream come true. So yeah, I think wo hua. And then I ended up working for Accenture, normal placements. So I was in Accenture for 2.5 years.
Okay.
But within the first year, I knew, bro, this is not the life that I can live for the 50 years. But I mean,
exposure.
मतलब पता ही नहीं था यार गरिमा, मतलब क्या कर, इतना पता चल गया कि ये तो नहीं कर सकते.
Right.
Even if I was good at it.
क्या करना है वो नहीं पता, बट क्या नहीं करना है
वो डेफिनेटली पता था.
Correct.
So I was, and I think I was very, very naive at that point. Internet was also not a big part of our lives the way that it is today. So I didn't know something like an advertising industry existed. So what then happened is one fine day, and we used to work in the Navi Mumbai Airoli office out of the 11th floor. So 11th floor पे मैं बैठी थी, and my desk used to be right by the window. And this is around 2016, 2016, 1 year into the job. And Zomato at that point in time was coming up as this new age
company brand.
And I remember Akshay Pathak used to work with Zomato at that point. And this was very cool, very jazzy, quirky, all of that Zomato got to become. Everyone wants to become a Swiggy and a Zomato today. I think it was the beginning of that phase. Brilliant guy, Akshay. So मैं बैठी थी ऐसे ही काम कर रही थी, and I saw one of those ads. I think it was one of those MCBC ads that went on to become very viral. Zomato ka.
Right.
BC was butter chicken and
right.
So for good reason or bad, it became very viral. So I think it was one of those ads, if I remember correctly. And I saw that in the classic Zomato red, and I thought, ये करना है bro. ऐसे ही cool बनना है मुझे. I had no absolute zero logic of what it takes to become that, what it is, who does do. I mean, I didn't know who did those things. I just knew I wanted to be cool like that. So I Googled, and I think that's how, I mean, it took me a year and a half post that incident to finally figure, okay, advertising बोल के एक दुनिया होती है, digital marketing बोल के एक दुनिया होती है, and all of that is coming. And because I had absolutely no background, I had no seniors, I had no connections in the industry, so all of that started from classic Google search. So फिर मैंने, I think I completed a course in digital marketing. Then I was still with Accenture, and later on I went on to become the
complete opposite.
And so I didn't leave my job at that point in time, but I completed this course online itself. Did a couple of internships while managing my full-time job also, somehow, and then I ended up in a web development agency. वहाँ से I then started understanding, okay, this is what advertising is, this is what marketing is.
Right. And copy and content.
Copy and copy is का difference पता चला मुझे. So that's.
And even today, like after I think 8-9 years into this profession, do you think there is someone who actually gets what you're doing?
Honestly, yes. The world has changed a lot. It was a struggle in the initial days when I had to, make people understand. So, क्या करती है तू? सब brochure लिख रही है, सब menu card लिख रही है. So it used to be a task. I left it after a while, and I think the good thing that has happened is, Garima, अब internet, again I keep saying this, we have grown up with the internet. I think we're the last generation who had both sides of the world, right? Now even my parents know
who is a copywriter,
who is not really, but they kind of understand, कि क्या है job.
Like social media marketing 7 years ago
was completely it didn't exist, right? It existed, but not in the way that
nobody took it seriously. Like if you're a social media manager, अच्छा क्या करते हो? Instagram पे post डालते हो, LinkedIn पे post डालते हो. That is all that meant for people. And even if we talk about writing, now writing is something, now I'm not trying to touch upon the history of writing, but writing is something which the mankind has used as a tool to take their message. And as a young woman in the industry, what does writing mean to you?
Deep question. See, writing for me is to me at least, it's very personal. And that because when I was not writing as a profession, I was always writing something, right? Even if it was a diary entry, or a very angry letter to someone,
Yeah.
Or when Instagram was booming,
Yeah.
we used to do these long, lengthy captions.
And even if you remember, Orkut had these
Yeah.
testimonials.
The status updates on Facebook.
Yeah.
bro.
Yeah.
I mean, to me, it's always been a part of me, some way or the other.
But did you get that jhatka when you first started as a professional writer? Did you feel that, अरे यार मेरे लिए तो writing का मतलब ये होता था? Because when we are writing for our own selves, it's very different,
Yes,
right?
I started by reading Ruskin. My first author was Ruskin. Okay. Then I moved on to Enid Blyton. And then probably into a
Famous Five
ka pura series. So to me, the first experience of a reading material and Ruskin Bond's style of writing is the simplest.
Correct.
No ornamentation, no flowery language. Because he writes for kids, right? And because he takes his stories from his own experience and builds upon it. So my entire influence, I think, has been him.
Yeah.
So I think that brought the difference, where in my mind, I always knew I want to write in a way that everyone feels is simple enough that they can put themselves in the story. If I'm writing a fiction, right? If even like, okay, I have an example. I used to read a lot of newspapers back in the day, Economic Times and Times. So all these opinion pieces from these big journalists of those times, they used to write such heavy words, and I had to sit with a dictionary.
That's true. That's very true.
Why would you write something which,
half of the world has to carry a dictionary to understand?
I mean, it sounds good and it sounds aspirational.
But it doesn't mean anything. Because
at that time I was like, okay, this sounds like as if someone is writing it from a place that's too high up for me to ever reach. Right? My style of reading is also the kind of stuff that I like to read.
It's been influenced by writers like Ruskin Bond.
Yes, where it's so simple that I can put myself in that story and I can see myself in that story. And I feel that I belong and I'm a part of those pages.
I totally agree with this. And like 3 years into social media marketing, one thing that I've understood is that don't write a word that makes your tongue twist. If you can tell me about your current title, I just want to dig into that so that listeners, people who want to become that in future, will get some perspective that, okay, this is what a senior copywriter looks like. This is what a senior copy supervisor looks like. So what exactly is your title? And
so I work with ClearTrip right now. I've recently been promoted to a senior manager brand marketing.
Wow.
So my current title is senior manager copy of brand marketing. But having said that, I think titles don't really matter.
What does a typical day look like?
Okay. So there's a lot of campaigns that we keep churning out. So once you come in, you have a bunch of briefs waiting for you. So we work closely with stakeholders in the brand marketing department. So I handle a bunch of charters that includes CRM, which is customer retention management. We have brand marketing. We have performance marketing, and we have something that we call merchandising or storefront, which is basically what you see on the app, the face of the app, and whatever comes in between, right? Earlier, I used to also handle this customer experience and B2B side of things. So any sort of, my team, when I first came in, we helped set up the tone of voice for the customer experience team also. So a typical day probably we would come and we would know what briefs to work on. It's either a big campaign or it's the BAU stuff which needs to go on CRM front. It could look like a bunch of push notifications, WhatsApp messages, emails. On the store front, if we have a campaign coming up, what goes on the app, face of the app. So we have different stakeholders giving us different sorts of briefs. Then I sit down with my team. We figure out a life for the day. Who gets to take on what brief, how much timeline we have, deadlines and all of that. And then a lot of the day goes into meetings and firefighting and, making non-copy people understand why this copy doesn't work and this copy. So that's interesting.
And how are you looking at AI?
I used to be a purist. बिल्कुल ही नहीं touch करना है chat GPT. Because then initially when something very radical comes into your life, you generally tend to have an extreme reaction. Either you love it or you hate it. Right? The way AI came into our lives was like all of a sudden the news was like, okay, people are going to lose their jobs and creativity is not going to last and AI is going to take our jobs. Ultimately, when you breathe a little more, you understand, at least I believe, and writers, if they're worth their salt, and all creative people, not just writers, I think I can speak for all creative people. Any creative person worth their salt, no AI can ever take their job. And I'll tell you why. Writers, we can do something that AI can't do. We can tap into your memories and nostalgia. You can have the latest version of ChatGPT or the greatest AI they'll ever make. They'll not be able to when a really good writer writes something. That kind of takes you back. For example, we're 90s kids, right? हमारे पास वो memories बाकी है of couple of things that we have, like core memories, the ones,
from the shows on the TV that we used to watch, the games we used to play, the kind of snacks we used to consume.
Those are kind of like etched in your brain. You have a visual memory of, or if you hear a song from back in the day, and it suddenly brings a memory like I remember I used to, like in one of my jobs back in Bombay, I used to travel by metro and I used to just turn on my Amazon Music that time. तो local train बोल के जो band है, उनके गाने बजते थे. So I remember at this particular station, when the train used to stop, this song used to play. Okay, and without realizing, that got stored in my memory. So आज के दिन भी, if a random local train song plays by the band, and when I hear that particular song, my memory directly goes to, अरे वो station पे I used to feel like this.
Right.
So all of this tapping into your
childhood
nostalgia. I think the word is nostalgia. AI can never tap into an emotion like nostalgia.
That is so true.
And you can use AI as your crutch, or you can use it as a tool to, enhance your craft, skill, or the process of ideation. I personally use it when to come out of a brain rot or a brain fog or one of those.
Like give me throw some ideas, right?
So just when my mind is like, I have a brief and I have a tight deadline. Absolutely कुछ नहीं चमक रहा है मुझे दिमाग में. And I throw a prompt at ChatGPT, it will give me some first level of ideas. Might be shit, okay, but it gives you that starting point.
Push.
Yeah, that starting point or that push. Okay, this is one direction. So when one direction, like the one door opens up, then you can see okay, ye ja raha hai, ye nahi ja raha, and then you can use. I will never, and with my experience now, I can. Like when I hire people in my team, I receive so many because we are used to giving assignments, right? मुझे ऐसे पता चल जाएगा if you have used AI to write.
Yeah. That
has just come from experience. So that is my first filter. Like,
even that ChatGPT cannot take away.
Yeah. So that experience. Correct. And a lot of people don't want to work hard also because ChatGPT है. अगर तुम मेहनत कर लो ChatGPT को अच्छे prompt देने में.
Right.
No, it's a great tool. AI is booming at a different level only. The things that AI can do now. But then it will also take someone worth their salt to give a prompt like that.
Yeah.
Now prompt engineering is a thing which I think is amazing.
And that effort
कहीं तो डालना, either you put that effort in your writing, or you put that effort into writing a good prompt, so that at least it doesn't give you the generic. I can't tell you the amount of first level rejections I do, and it's like, why do you think I was born yesterday? मुझे समझ नहीं आएगा तुमने AI use किया है, करो यार use. I'm not against using it. I tell my team and my writers, you can't think, please use AI, but don't make it sound human. At least pretend that you have put
you're
some
thinking,
effort.
you're thinking.
So yeah, that is where I stand. And I think it can do wonders for us. It can make our work a lot faster. It can make our work a lot polished. It can sometimes help us. Again, you have to use it as a tool in hands, and not like as a crutch, basically. It doesn't have to be a crutch.
In the next 5 years, what are some of the trends that you're very keen on, you're closely looking at, basically?
So AI is going to be at the top. Even in my current job, as part of the creative team, we keep experimenting with a lot of AI tools. I think it's brilliant, and it just constantly blows my mind of the levels that AI can help us in basically enhancing our creativity and bringing down the time that it takes to execute something or produce something. I think we're looking at some amazing times with by using AI. कल को कुछ भी आ सकता है, right? And we wouldn't have preempted it. A person who is very experienced in on the brand side or the marketing side can give you a list of things to look forward to, but that might just never happen, and something completely different happen.
I think that's the beauty.
That's the beauty of it. And but the good thing is also we catch up really quick. Like AI, when it came like a tornado, right? All of us in the creative jobs now are quite comfortable with using AI tools. Tomorrow there is a new trend that can happen with so much access to the internet and smartphones and all of these smart devices. I think creativity has no rules now. Kuch bhi viral ho sakta hai, whether you like it or not. I stopped believing in black and white stuff.
Even grammar for that matter.
Yeah, I have put aside my purist part of me aside, because I'm like, as long as it's working.
Yeah.
I mean, the future is very bright, but the future is also unpredictable in a nice way.
Yeah. Anybody who wants to start out a career in brand marketing, what would you tell that kid? And that person could be a kid or somebody who has had an experience with some other industry altogether, 5 years, 10 years, just like you ventured into this, right? What would your message be? What would you tell that why this space matters, how it can really make a difference?
Why this space matters is because I think we alter perceptions. When we talk about a brand, it could be a person building their personal brand, or an object, an organization who becomes a brand. I think the job that we are all doing here, and creative and non-creative under brand marketing, I'm trying to put them together, is change or enhance the perception of something, of whatever, wherever we work. And I think we are changing the way people look at those things. So I think that's a very cool space to be in, where and an advice to people who want to come. I'm guessing Gen Z doesn't need any advice at all. They are killing it. But yeah, I think one thing that I would like more is, I think there are two kinds of people. You could be someone who is immensely talented, and you could be someone who is good enough or interested in, in this field, but don't know how to go about it. I think I relate more to the latter because I don't think I'm a great talent but I think I work very hard and I'm very sincere. And I think that eventually puts you at par with people.
True. Yeah.
So give your all to put in the effort, whether or not you think you have the talent, especially if you have the talent, because talent can only take you so far. It's ultimately the hard work and the effort that you put.
Yeah.
And I think the biggest learning, especially in a creative job, when you're trying to work with a brand, is there's no stop to the amount of learning that you have. Every day you're doing something new, you're learning something new.
Yeah.
It's not like your everyday other jobs where you keep doing the same things over and over again. So you always need to have that sort of mindset where you want to genuinely learn every day,
right.
And be better every day. I think that if you come with that mindset of I will never know it all.
Yeah.
Even if I have 20 years of experience,
Yeah.
I will never know it all. But I want to keep learning, and I want to keep bettering myself. I think we'll be in a good space.
Thank you so much, Nikita. It's been lovely listening to you and learning from you. And I wish you all the best for the road ahead. And thank you so much for joining me today. And before you go, if you could just say something about your experience of giving this interview today, and why do you think people should come here and share their story? The only thing that I feel is important at this platform for me is that I want to make every story matter.
I think you have spoken it because you believe every story matters, and I think every guest who comes here, their story matters, and because every person so I have this thing about, as humans we are very similar yet very unique.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
So you literally pick any person on the street right now.
Yeah.
Their story would be very, very different from the second person on the street.
Yeah.
So I think you're doing a fab job, Garima. I was very, very excited. Like you said, we did not plan this. I had absolutely nothing, no structure, so this is as candid as it could get. I've probably spoken my heart out. So I think conversation with you feels very natural. It doesn't feel like this is the second time we're meeting. It feels like I've known you for a while. And it feels like, just two friends hanging out and, over a cup of coffee and chatting. So I think that's a great space to be. And I think anybody who wants to, the reason I wanted to do this is because I feel, the things that I have experienced, the way that I have experienced my profession, or the thoughts that I have about the worldview that I have, while it can't just be me going through all these, questions or ordeals or feelings. I feel like if I have this worldview, probably 5 other people at least will have a similar worldview. And if, I can probably, because I have had a lot of help, transitioning from a completely different industry to a completely different industry. And if I really believe in giving it back. So if there's even one person who, listens to this and figures कि यार इसने कर लिया मतलब मैं तो कर ही लूंगी. There is no absolute question on that. And I think the job is done here. And you just pass on whatever you have learned in life, and I think that helps all of us become better.
Absolutely. Thank you so much, Nikita.
I got facts over tracks, this and that, spitting slow, spitting fast. I could roast, I could gas, think I'm okay at last, but I don't know if that can erase all the past. And the pettiness, a reflection of the emptiness. Hilarious, you think you're worth my time, you're delirious. Mysterious, because you hide behind a fake exterior. Inferior, I'll always be a bit superior. Get off of me, this ain't no humble brag. I want you to hear words, you can say them back. I want you to feel free from the chains at last, and to believe in what you got, it was built to last, yeah.
Now that I've been put through hell, I never got anyone's help. I had to do it all myself.
I don't ever slow up, no I don't take shit. I got no love for the fakeness. If you wanna play tough and wanna hate this, I'll always show up and make a statement. I don't ever slow up, no I don't take shit. I got no love for the fakeness. If you wanna play tough and wanna hate this, I'll always show up and make a statement.
Gonna learn the consequence of being incompetent. Mental health is confidence, dreams and some modestness. I'm not here to save the day, that's for you to take away. I could play a million mind games, but instead of say something not illogical, something that is topical. Rub it on and watch it go, make yourself unstoppable. Dreams are irresponsible, but they're always possible. If you just believe, you could be so remarkable.
Thoughts in my head, a collage and they spread. I'll be great one day, going off of my meds. No, I'm not giving up, no, I'm not giving in. I will make it to the top, taking off in the wind. I gotta make it, I'm saving every day to taste it. I'm patient, but my mind, it can hardly take it. I'm chasing a dream that I've had for several ages. A vacant, modern kingdom for the taking.
Now that I've been put through hell, I never got anyone's help. I had to do it all myself.
I don't ever slow up, no I don't take shit. I got no love for the fakeness. If you wanna play tough and wanna hate this, I'll always show up and make a statement. I don't ever slow up, no I don't take shit. I got no love for the fakeness. If you wanna play tough and wanna hate this, I'll always show up and make a statement.
I don't ever slow up, no I don't take shit. I got no love for the fakeness. If you wanna play tough and wanna hate this, I'll always show up.